Hi friends! I have a new experiment, a new fun thing for you to try at home. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to gather a whole bunch of things in a bag. I brought a big bag of things from around my house, but I'm going to try some of these things here. We're going to try and find out what sinks and what floats. And before we do that, I have two cards I want to show you. This word right here, S-I-N-K, spells sink. And you can see the letters of this word is at the bottom of the blue or the water, because when something sinks, it goes all the way to the bottom. This word right here says float, F-L-O-A-T. And you can see this word is up on top of the water. It's floating on top of the blue. Float and sink. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to think. Will it sink and will it float? And then give a good guess of why you think that is. So the first thing I have is a piece of rubber tube. It's just from my recycling bin. You might find something in your recycling bin too. And I want to think about it. Well, it has a hole in it. It's like a straw. I think it's going to float because it's made of plastic and it's bendable. So I'm going to put it on the float sign. I have this bolt from my garage. It's heavy. It doesn't bend. It's made out of metal and it's a stick shape. It could be a vertical line or a horizontal line. It's really heavy. I think because it's heavy, it's going to sink. So I'm going to put it on my sink sign. This is a bath toy. It's kind of heavy too. It doesn't bend. It's made of plastic. It's made of plastic like this, but it's hard like this. Maybe because this one is hard and doesn't bend and it's going to sink. Maybe this one will sink too. We'll have to find out. Here's a metal racing car. It's hard. It doesn't bend. It has little rubber wheels though. Do you think it will sink or float? I think this one will sink. This is a seashell that I got at the beach. Now when I think about the last time I was at the beach, the shells weren't laying on the top of the water. They were all on the sand underneath the water. So I think that one's going to sink too. I had to use my remembering for that one. Here's a rock. It's really hard. What do you think? Sink or float? I'm going to say sink. This is a purple bouncy ball. It's plastic, it's hard, but it's not as heavy as some of those other things. I think this one's going to float. This is a pine cone from my backyard. Think. It's not heavy at all. It's very light. I wonder if it's heavy, does it sink? Can heavy things float? I think this one's going to float though. How about this wooden spoon? I like to make brownies with this spoon. Sink or float? It's long and straight like the bolt, but it's not as heavy as the bolt. It's made of wood. Can you think of things made out of wood that sink or float? I think this one's going to float. This is plastic. It's not heavy at all. It's light too. It's a bracelet. I think this one's going to float too. It's made out of plastic. We'll see. Let's try some more. Here's a dice. Hard. It's very small. Maybe because it's small it will float. We'll see. This is a clip. We put these on our potato chips to keep them fresh. Maybe that one will float. Here's a pretend penguin. Penguins like to go in the water. They swim. I don't know if they float or not. I don't know if this toy will float or not. I think it's going to sink. It's kind of hard. About that paper clip. I'm going to guess sink. This is an egg made out of styrofoam. You could decorate it if you wanted. We could hang it on a tree for Easter. I think this one's gonna float. So after you've sorted all your items from around your house, and you could try food, because sometimes food floats, and sometimes food that floats at first gets too wet and then it sinks. So I'd like to know if you find some food that floats at first and then sinks. Then after you've sorted all your piles, you're gonna try it. So remember, I thought this toy was gonna sink. Let's see if he sinks. If he's gonna sink, he'll go all the way to the bottom. Let's see. Oh, he went to the bottom, but then he popped right back up. He's floating. So now that we know he's floating, we're gonna put him in the float bucket because we tested our guess. I didn't guess right on that one, so he has to go over here to the word that says float. Let's see about this one. Remember what I said about that bolt? Oh, I was right about that guess. It definitely sunk. It went all the way to the bottom. So I'm going to put it in the sink bucket. Was I right about seashells? Do they sink? They sink. Let's try this one. How about this penguin? Oh, he sunk. Let's go over and try this wooden spoon. Remember, it's straight like this one. This one sunk. This one's made out of metal. This one's made out of wood. It floats. I was right. Put that one in the float bucket. And you can keep doing this. Here's a dice. Let's see. I said I thought that would float because it's so small. I was wrong. It sinks. Went all the way to the bottom, so it has to go into the sink bucket where the letters are at the bottom. And you can keep doing this. You can look all around your house. Oh, I was wrong about that one too. That one went sink. How about this ball? Oh, that one sunk too. Didn't get that one right. How about this tube? That one's kind of a tricky one. Oh. I don't have too many things that sink, or that float. How about this one? Oh, that one definitely stayed on top. F-L-O-A-T, float. So you can do that and then you can count. Let's see how many float items I had. 1, 2, 3. Let's see how many sink items we checked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 items sunk. Have fun.